My name is Bonnie Stewart, and Griswold and Roe were correctly decided, but Casey was not. In my opinion, Griswold was a big step forward for women's rights. They were right in correctly stating that it's a fundamental right to allow for them to choose contraception and not be criminally prosecuted for this. I believe that a woman has the right to her own body, that she has the right to choose whether she wants to start a family now, if she wants to start a family later, or if she wants to not start a family at all. I feel that the government nor any other person's belief should be subject to what a woman believes or her belief. I feel that maybe if I wanted a family, I shouldn't impose my belief on that person or another person alike. I feel that we all have our own opinions. We all have the right to have our own opinions, but I don't feel that we need to impose what we feel on the rights of others. Just as in we all have the right for freedom of religion, that we shouldn't impose other religions on other people. They have the right to choose what they want, just as a woman has the right to choose if she wants contraception, if she doesn't want contraception. It's her right to choose that. It's her right, in that it's her fundamental right, and I feel that Griswold does well in explaining that and coming up with their opinion that it is their right and it is their fundamental right. I also feel that in Roe versus Wade that it was correctly stated in their opinion as well. Roe versus Wade, they come up with the reason of what a person is and what is the definition of a person, and they look at clauses and how to define a person, and I feel that that is viable in this standpoint, and it also in saying that when a fetus becomes viable outside the womb, that they should be also considered a person, and that is when we should allow the states to impose laws on whether or not to have an abortion or not at that point. I also feel that when they were saying that we should impose laws that for the mother's instinct, or not the mother's instinct, but the mother's ability to have a clean, or for the facilities to have a clean and have their rules and regulations set forth. That's very important for the mother's health as when to having a abortion or whether or not to have one. I believe it was a big thing when they set out that when a child or a fetus is viable, that they are considered a person. That is very important, because at one point I know there's very big controversy about when the fetus is viable or not. Some people say it's viable when it's conceived. And then other people say it's not viable as that stands. But I feel, in my opinion, that it is very worthy that when the life is viable outside the womb, that is considered a person at that point. And I feel that the abortion should be limited at that point to where the state stands, and the state should allow laws at that point. Now we're going to go on to Casey. I believe, and in my opinion, I agree with everything in Casey except for one point. And one major point being that they did not extinguish that the children under 18 have to ask that their parents, or inform their parents that they are wanting an abortion. When they looked at the husband contract and saying that women need to ask their husbands, well, fortunately they said that that isn't correct, and we're not going to have to get rid of that. And I totally agree with that point. But they looked at the woman saying that husbands may be abusive, or they may be coerced into doing this, or they may be abused if they even say this or want to do this, and that this relationship or this pregnancy was the cause of this, and it could cause more harm or even death to someone. Well, they didn't look at that for a children's point of view either, and in our states, in our regulations, or in our states, there is a lot of children being abused or being sexually molested, or just unconceivable things that are happening to these children. And if they have to go to their parents to ask for this abortion, it might be almost deadly for them, or very harmful in a way that they have to do this. So I do not believe that children should be asked to ask their parents, and that's why I do not agree with Casey's decision.